So we call this CLIDA, so basically Celtic languages in the digital era. And we hope from this one is actually going to foster collaboration, knowledge exchange in the field of like language resources and development. And learning, of course, from the great work that you all do. And I'm really excited to hear all about your talks, different languages that I've never worked before, or even know the structure of it. But I'm really excited about like having one family of languages under the umbrella of Celtic languages. And I'll explain later why we think this is important. So we also want to leverage our humble experience in working with low-resource languages. So at Lancaster University, we've been working with low-resource languages for a long time. And Paul there, with the UCREL NLP Group, I've worked on more than 20 languages. I've been involved in some of them. And when I started in 2003 working on NLP, there were very few resources for the language I work on, which is Arabic. And then we've built, with collaboration from many other people, many different resources that helps Arabic language to like kind of be digitally used. And although you might think some of these resources might not be used by people directly, but it does help in a different ways. So having a part speech tagger, for example, is not going to be used by people on Twitter. But later on, if you want to do analysis, such tools will definitely help your language to thrive in the future. So what I want is from all of us together to try and push the boundaries for Celtic languages, understand what resources are out there for each of those languages. And there is a spreadsheet that you might have received a link for, where you can suggest resources that you have. You can say like, for Irish language, we have this part speech tagger, or we have this data set. And then later on, I will share that with everyone, and online attendees as well. If you have any ideas, or if you have any resources, we will put the link for you in the chat. So where does this come from? So this is funded by kind of like 3 agencies. So basically the Faculty of Science and Technology, which we are under. So this is what we call a Catalyst Research Fund. And the idea is to use this to try and do something for Celtic languages in the future. The Data Science Institute, and you've been receiving many emails from the very helpful Julia Cradis. So she booked all your travel. So big thank to Julia, and I'll do that later again. And of course, UCREL NLP Group, and that's where we get the big help from John and Paul Rayson there. And that's where we get like the funds from all these agencies, like parties together. So why CLIDA 2024? Okay, so when we did our funding proposal for the Catalyst, we were thinking of what is it that we can contribute to and what language. And for the past kind of 4 years now, I've been working with the Welsh government and Cardiff University on like building resources for the Welsh language. And that really got me hooked into like the Celtic languages. And we built a few resources, for example, summarization tools. We built a thesaurus, and Nuran there is going to tell you more about it, and Ignatius, and all the stuff that they've done technically and how these things were built. But also the collaboration with Dawn from Cardiff University, and also John Morales, John Morris, sorry, who couldn't attend today. So we also worked together. And then I thought with Saad that with the work that he's done on Luxembourgish, and I've done work on Arabic and other under-resourced languages, we thought that there is some sort of advantage for Celtic languages, is that they all have some sort of kind of like shared qualities that can be used together. And also I'll explain that, and I'll explain what it doesn't mean learning from a Celtic language or learning from, let's say, another language like English. So the idea is that we want to like develop open source and free resources and tools and languages, and that's what we've been doing also for the Welsh language. So as I said, we were focused on the Welsh language, but we want to like foster that to other Celtic languages and try and build models that work for all of them together. And you might have seen and read about like what they call multilingual models nowadays. And the fact it's done to multilingual, it's not just it works in different languages, it had been trained on all these languages together. So think of a Celtic model that learned from all the languages that are Celtic together, and then it will start to understand the common features between them. And that is, in my kind of perspective, and through the discussion with Saad, we think it's a better way to learn rather than learning, let's say, from English. And I'll again explain why that is not going to be the case later. So this is, and it was also good for me to learn, Celtic language families. And as you can see, some of them are already extant and others are still living, and that's why we think there's a good advantage here to try and focus on thriving these languages. So the ones in green are the ones we're going to focus on in our research, and a lot of you going to talk about like those languages today and explain what kind of work that you've been done and what resources and tools that can be built for them.
We've lost the feed from you for some reason. I don't know what you've done.
What did I do?
Just entirely dropped out.
Oh, wow.
Well done.
Something I said. Something I've said, something.
I don't know what you've done, but you've just vanished off the system entirely. There we go. Let's try again. So.
Is there a link to the stream in case you want to share it with anyone who might be interested in this?
If you want to.
Did you hear?
Yes, I did.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Because I don't know the answer.
It's the same one to the Teams one that was sent out by Mo's email previously, so that one should let anyone in. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, I think it's also on Twitter and all those. Yeah, so just back to this. So we're going to focus on the Celtic languages in green, so the living ones. And I know there are government efforts to try and keep those languages thriving, being used in school, build resources. And I've had a lot of discussions with Gareth about that. And that's why I'm really excited about working on those languages. So our aims, as I said, is fostering collaboration with researchers like yourselves, practitioners and stakeholders, and understand the challenges and limitations unique to Celtic languages in general, and also like to the language that you are working on in specific, and try and facilitate inter, cross, and multidisciplinary research and network opportunities, because that's what helps. And through previous research, we found that working with people from linguistics does help a lot the people in NLP, because you don't want it to be one-sided and that we make our own assumptions and claims. So you do have to work with people from linguistics. And finally, try and utilize the strengths and resources of more well-resourced Celtic languages. And that's our main idea, to be honest. So if you are familiar with the NLP work, there's something called reinforced learning. So basically, that is a low-resource language, think of Welsh, would learn from a rich resource language, think of it as English. Although it's like a nice idea, and it might help because English is well-resourced and there's a lot of data online, but the risk here is that you might lose some heritage and cultural nuance that you want to keep for the language that you're working on. And with Saad, and he's not there, but he's online, he can hear us, so the work they've done with Luxembourgish is, because it's within the family of the German language, and they're all well-resourced, the German language is well-resourced, so reinforcement learning, or like learning from the German language for Luxembourgish, helped in a way to keep the kind of like language-specific features for these two, because they follow the same family. And we want to do something similar for Celtic languages. So for example, if Cornish is very well, very under-resourced, but Welsh compared to it is well-resourced somehow, then we could have, or we're already thinking about a way where Cornish could learn from the Welsh resources that we've already built, and then help to like foster something, but still keep it within the Celtic umbrella, if that makes sense. So that's actually just my introduction. I'm just going to do a few thanks. So thanks to all of you for coming and being here today. But really, thanks a lot for John. And as I always say, if it wasn't for John, I would slightly panic because I'm not really good with all these technologies. But you can see there's a lot of gadget here that he carried around. So thanks a lot to Dawn, Paul, Gareth, for like putting me in contact with most of you, and also to help me with ideas and brainstorming. And big thank you to Julia Cradis, who helped us with everything, actually, from booking the room to like arranging things, booking your travel. So yes, so now the CLIDA workshop is now open, and we're ready for the first talk. I think it's Marin. Thank you.